This is Tom Dillon, the Lifetime Liberal, and today is Friday, August 20th, 2021. The title of this rant is Voting Rights or Voter Suppression. What will Senate Democrats do? So let's just hope that everything in Afghanistan comes out okay for the Americans and for the Afghanis that need to leave. And then we must have tremendous international pressure on the Taliban to continue to have voting rights, women rights and other things over there. But we have a big thing coming up with voter rights right here. And what is going to happen with the Senate Democrats? So let's go back memory lane just for a second here. Carter beat Ford, a sitting president, in 76, no talk of voter fraud. Reagan beat Carter in 80, no talk of voter fraud. Same thing with Mondale, who lost in 84, Dukakis in 88, Papa Bush in 92, who was the last sitting president who lost before Bush. Ross Perot was there too. Dole and Ross Perot in 96. Al Gore, 2000. John Kerry, 2004. John McCain, 2008. Mitt Romney, 2012, and Hillary, 2016. Not one of them said anything about voter fraud. They all accepted what happened in the election, and then we moved on, except for 2000, but that's a different story. But obviously this whole thing that there was voter fraud. And let me just ask you, what happened that was so much different in the year 2020 that wasn't different in all of those years? Well, there wasn't anything different. In fact, from an outside sources, our security agencies basically said there was nominal outside interference, and that the local board of elections and the regions and the counties and the states and the parishes, the cities, etc., they all worked well. They all did very well, right? But this whole thing of the big lie that there was voter fraud just continues. And what has surfaced from that big lie is voter suppression laws that are being brought about, I believe, in over 40 states, and a number of them have already been enacted, especially the one in Georgia, basically where white rural lawmakers are going to take over the Board of Elections in, let's just say, urban areas that happen to have larger populations of Black and people of color. And the purpose of that is to do two things. Number one, they actually could have the opportunity of decertifying the vote count in certain, let's just say, urban areas. And they could also muck up the count to make everyone think that that there was voter fraud all the way through. Very disconcerting to democracy. And we also have the fact that as we're coming up to 2022, there's always the big chance, that Democrats will lose seat, as has often happened in an off-year election cycle, that the minority party wins seats. And also because this was a census year, that the Republicans in their states will do as much as they possibly can to have as much gerrymandering, so that so they can get as many more Republican seats in there as opposed to Democratic seats. So all of that is going on right now, and many people say the only way that this can happen in terms of a voting rights bill that can come out of the Senate, that the Democrats can get Republicans aboard on, or have to get rid of the filibuster, is something that will give federal authority so those types of voter suppression laws in those states can't happen. Now there's all kinds of bills growing. There's 2 or 3 bills that are going on right now. There's talk between Senator Warnoff from Georgia and Joe Manchin, as Joe Manchin wants to get his fingers into all of this type of thing. But the thing is, if these voter suppression laws actually come into existence and are actually used by the Republicans, then we could possibly see basically totally 100% minority rule through the next decade. And of course, as we found out in the last census, that white population in the United States had basically gone down for the first time since 1790. So the Democrats in the Senate have a big choice to do. Our democracy really, really is on the line right now, because we have seen that our Republican friends will stop at nothing to instead of expanding the vote so that everyone can vote, and by expanding the vote, then the Republicans would have to come up with better solutions than what they're coming up with right now, which is basically to continue on the white supremacy, white nationalism type of thing. Instead of having to rely on that, they'd have to come up with better solutions, and they're not coming up with those solutions right now. So the Senate Democrats need to step up. They need to come up with a solution. And if that solution, just for that particular law, they need to nullify, what the heck is it? I already forgot. The filibuster, then that's what they need to do. And this is important. This is coming up. We need to get this done, and we need to get it done now, because 2022, if we don't do it this fall, it's not going to happen in the early part of 2022.